Buster, thank you very much. He made 30 starts this year, compiled a 14-9 record with a 2.60 ERA, the third lowest ERA in the National League, and he was a big factor for the Mets in the postseason last year as a rookie on their way to the World Series, including picking up the only win the Mets had in the World Series against the Kansas City Royals. He faced the Giants twice this year, so he's very familiar with what he's about to see, and they're pretty familiar with him. Let's take a look at the Giants starting lineup tonight.
Well, Bruce Bochy wisely moved Brandon Belt to the 2 spot just a week ago, and he has been on fire since going there, hitting .370, and he's been their best on-base guy all season long. And then right behind him, I feel like this is the guy to go against Noah Syndergaard. No one hits high-velocity fastballs better than Buster Posey. You look at his numbers throughout his career, I believe he's the guy to get the big hit tonight.
There is no Matt Harvey, there is no Jacob deGrom, there is no Steven Matz, and yet here are the New York Mets, who were 60-62 on August the 19th, and then went 27-13 the rest of the way to not only clinch a playoff spot, Aaron, but to clinch it Saturday, allowing Noah Syndergaard to not have to pitch Sunday and to start in this game tonight. Meanwhile, for the Giants, they took it down right to the final day of the season. Had a dismal second half until the last week of the season. They won 5 of their last 6. They won their last 4, swept the Dodgers over the weekend. So here they are as well. And listen to this crowd here in Flushing. Syndergaard ready, Span ready, and we're underway. And the Giants will see a lot of that. 98 miles an hour. That's about par for the course for Syndergaard. Denard Span in the postseason for the 4th time in his career. A couple of times with the Twins, once with the Nationals, first time now with the Giants. Had a 2 for 41 stretch recently, but after that then closed the season on a 16 for 45 stretch, a 356 mark to close the regular season. And of course, anybody with any kind of speed, those are the guys the Giants want to get on to see if they can run on Syndergaard. Thor hoping to keep him off base. One, two, got him.
And that is a great start for Noah Syndergaard. I think a key for him tonight again is when he gets ahead, continue to fill up the strike zone and challenge these Giant hitters who are typically good at putting the ball in play, or if they get deep in the count, working the walk. 4 pitches after ball 1, a great start for Syndergaard.
So now Brandon Belt, the Giants first baseman, 275, 17 homers. And those 17 home runs, that led the Giants. They didn't have a single guy on their team hit 20 home runs this season. They finished second from the bottom of the National League in home runs with just 130. Only Atlanta hit fewer. The Giants, though, they will take walks, most notably Belt walked 104 times this year. You can see the on-base percentage, and they don't strike out that often.
And look for him to stay right there with Brandon Belt. Challenge him at the top of the strike zone there at 99. You saw Rivera wanting that ball up. That is a hole, and where you can exploit Brandon Belt if they can execute.
A little bit upstairs, and the crowd roaring its disapproval at home plate umpire Mike Winters. Quite a scene here at Citi Field. A fan base that's just so excited to have their team in the postseason when it didn't look like 6 weeks ago they had any kind of a chance. And a slow roller down to first. Syndergaard over to cover, 2 down.
A lot of lefties in the lineup for the Giants. The first righty they'll see here is Posey, but we've seen here early on him establishing that is Syndergaard, that fastball on the outer half to the lefties, but also having a little bit of a presence inside. To the righties, he can afford, I believe, to stay away and work his breaking ball off of that. But to the lefties, a presence on both sides is key.
Buster Posey, not his typical offensive season. 14 homers, 80 driven in, hit .288. And Syndergaard paints the outside corner with the knees, 0-1. Posey is synonymous with Giant success as Bumgarner has been in recent years. Just low at 99, and it's a ball and a strike.
This is a two-seam fastball that Syndergaard starts off the plate, but watch it run right back over. It even kind of gets Rivera not in a position. If he was there to frame it a little bit better, I think he would have gotten the call.
Fouled off 1-2.
And Mike Winters, the home plate umpire, he will typically give a little bit at the bottom of the zone and on the outer half. So especially if you can demonstrate command, usually get that low call in the outside.
High fastball that Posey fouls straight back. Had a good rip at it.
And this is why I like this matchup a lot. There are not a lot of hitters in baseball that can even foul off 98, 99 up and out of the zone. And this is a ball. Posey does a good job of battling to stay in this count, but he's able, of any hitter in this Giants lineup, to handle high velocity fastballs, as Posey shows right there.
And the slider at 93 miles an hour misses outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Madison Bumgarner patiently waiting his turn in the Giants dugout. The guy who has been as good as anybody's ever been in the postseason. 2-2, fouled off by Posey as the battle continues.
A really good at bat here. That's a well executed pitch by Syndergaard. Posey demonstrated he can lay off the tough breaking ball down and away. That ball a little closer to the edge, just spoiling it. So he has the plate covered and the discipline to not chase the one off.
2-2 again. And a ground ball to the left side. Third baseman Reyes up with it on to first in time, and the Giants go in order. Syndergaard off to a good start. Bumgarner to the mound when we come back. Terry Collins has written in there for the Mets tonight.
Well, Yoenis Cespedes in that 3-hole comes in struggling the final month of the season, but he has worn out left-handed pitching this season, a .624 slugging percentage. And Jay Bruce in the 6-hole, he has really come on in the final week, started to have an impact with the bat, although he's got a tough draw tonight, and someone that's really had his number. Bumgarner 3 for 23 in his career.
Madison Bumgarner 15-9 this year, a career high in innings, a career low ERA, a career high in strikeouts, but maybe known best for what he has done in October, specifically 2 years ago when it began in a wild card game in Pittsburgh. He shut out the Pirates and then went on to throw 52 2/3 remarkable innings in the playoffs that year on his way to the NLCS and World Series MVP. Intensely competitive, and although just 27, incredibly experienced in this kind of a high pressure environment. Jose Reyes, the third baseman, who leads it off for the Mets. Reyes back with the Mets again this year. Of course, began his career, had a number of remarkable years with New York. Was with Colorado most recently, was charged with domestic assault back in the offseason. The charges eventually dropped, but he was suspended at the outset of the season, eventually released by the Rockies, signed by the Mets, came back and played well for them in the second half of the season. Not at his typical shortstop position, third base, but Reyes, one of the reasons why the Mets are in the playoffs right now. They had some injuries and he plugged a hole for it.
And if they're going to have a good offensive night, perhaps critical against the lefty Bumgarner. The first 3 hitters in this lineup, The two switch hitters, Reyes and Cabrera, really hit lefties well, and of course Yoenis Cespedes in that 3 spot has worn out left-handed pitching. They've got to get to Bumgarner a little if they're going to have a good offensive night.
So 1 down here in the bottom of the first, and here is Asdrubal Cabrera, the shortstop. Look at those numbers since he came off the DL. Still bothered by his knee, but it's not bothering him when he swings the bat. Back to the mound, knocked down by Bumgarner, and plenty of time to get Cabrera 2 down. So now the guy who carried them to the end of last season, and of course who still has the ability to carry them now, didn't finish the season all that well, playing through a quad injury that cost him some time earlier, but it's still a special scene here at Citi Field when Yoenis Cespedes comes to the plate. And they do believe in their New York Mets. The numbers for Cespedes very solid.
A dead low ball hitter, whether it's a mistake breaking ball, fastball, you miss on the plate down, and right away the Giants trying to challenge the top of that strike zone, something you'll likely see all night against Cespedes.
Check swing foul off. It's a ball and a strike. More up than in, but obviously the folks here at Citi Field didn't like it one bit.
Well, both Posey and Bumgarner trying to establish a presence on the inside part of the plate with the fastball. First 3 hitters here, every pitch it looks like Posey wants to come in. Bumgarner hasn't commanded it yet.
Popped him up. Crawford. And the Mets, like the Giants, go in order in the first. No score after an inning. Hunter Pence will lead it off for San Francisco when we come back. Division series that will begin at Wrigley Field on Friday night. No score going to the top of the second. Syndergaard and Bumgarner both looking sharp in their first inning of work. And now here's Hunter Pence to face Syndergaard to lead off the top of the second. Pence, the right fielder, hit .289, 13 homers this year. Missed about 2 months with a torn hamstring. Had surgery on the injury in early June. Didn't come back until the end of July, which is one of the reasons why his numbers are down from where they typically would be in a Hunter Pence season. But as you can see, he finished the season well. Drives the ball to center field. Curtis Granderson back with room. And now Brandon Crawford, another one of the key cogs in this Giants machine. Last year won both a Gold Glove and a Silver Slugger award. Had over 60 RBIs at the All-Star break this year. Wound up with 84 on the season. And when last seen in a wild card game, it was Brandon Crawford who dealt a fatal blow to the Pittsburgh Pirates. What turned out to be a fatal blow, the way that Bumgarner was pitching. Crawford with a grand slam in that game. The Giants beat the Pirates and went all the way to the World Series, where they won it, defeating the Kansas City Royals. Crawford will look at a strike. Just off the outside edge, and it's a ball and a strike.
Crawford's been seeing the ball very well, especially the last week, hitting over 400. Been a huge key to this Giants offense, and you see him want to trigger on that fastball, and it continues to run off the plate. A nice job by Crawford to see where it's continuing to go as a ball.
Going away again. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
I just love the way Syndergaard is attacking each and every hitter. He is just saying, I am going to fill up the strike zone, establishing his fastball, working in some off speed. But here is critical, I think, to continue to pour it in there even when you're ahead.
Bounces in a breaking ball, down and in, 2-2. Coming into the season, of course, Syndergaard had the likes of Matt Harvey, Jacob deGrom, Steven Matz, but one by one they were all felled by injuries at various points of the season. deGrom out with a forearm injury right now. Harvey was gone by mid-season with a shoulder problem. Boy, a little flinch there from Mike Winters, but he called it ball 3.
Well, he went to that slider again, and he wanted to bury it down and in, but it just kind of stays up and maybe slips a little bit out of Syndergaard's hand, perhaps catching the top of the strike zone, but not the pitch that Syndergaard wanted to make. And this is what I worry about with Syndergaard a little bit. He had a great first inning and a great first hitter of this inning, but this Giant team, while not a juggernaut on offense, they put the ball in play and they work the walk, and ultimately they'll work some counts. And right now we're about to see the 7th pitch of this at bat.
And there will be an 8th.
Take a look at the repertoire of Noah Syndergaard. Both the 4 and 2 seam fastball that we've seen a lot of, both already high 90s. The slider, the curveball, and the changeup. He'll use all those pitches.
Got him swinging, 2 down.
Well, he said enough of that, Jess. Got the 3-2, a couple of foul balls, and just cut loose with his best fastball, not trying to be too fine with it, just looking to go outer half with it, and he blows it by Brandon Crawford for the 2nd out.
So 5 in a row retired by Syndergaard to begin his evening, and here's the left fielder, Angel Pagan. Pagan hit .277 with a dozen homers this year. Finished the season hot. Another guy with some speed. The Giants don't have overwhelming speed, especially with Eduardo Nunez not on the roster tonight with a hamstring injury. He's their best speedster. But if they can get anybody with some speed on, they love to run. But right now, Noah Syndergaard saying, I tell you what, good luck getting on. He has been sharp in the early going. Inning over. Overmatched him. The Giants go in order again to the bottom of the 2nd. No score. It's early, but both pitchers are living up to the hype so far tonight. Curtis Granderson will lead it off and take a strike from Bumgarner. Bumgarner needed only 7 pitches to get 3 outs in the first. Here's Granderson, the cleanup hitter. Hit for power as always. 30 home runs on the season. Drove in only 59. Did not have a good year at all with runners in scoring position. Did the Mets a big favor though when he moved to center field. Center field was a position in flux for the Mets for much of the season. Cespedes was out there. Lagares was out there. Conforto played a few games out there, but Granderson, who hadn't played full-time center field in 4 years, handled the position in recent weeks, and Terry Collins loved the job he did out there as he pops up to Crawford for the first out of the inning. And that'll bring up one of the guys, again, not a household name around the country, but one of the reasons why the Mets are still playing right now, T.J. Rivera, the second baseman. Hit .333 with the Mets, most of that late in the season. He didn't come up until August. He started 15 of the last 18 games. Neil Walker done for the year, required surgery on his back. Rivera, 27 years of age and undrafted from the Bronx. And in the last several weeks, he's done an outstanding job offensively and an adequate job defensively. And again, just another guy who has stepped in to fill a gap for the Mets and has done very well.
And he too could play a critical role tonight. 358 in his last 30 ball games. And he's the one righty now in the midst of these lefties who, look, lefties, it's a challenging matchup when you've got to go up against Madison Bumgarner with kind of sandwiched around.
Popped him up. It'll be Belt to make the catch, and quickly 2 down. That'll bring up Jay Bruce, acquired from Cincinnati at the end of July, and got off to a really difficult start with the Mets, but got hot in the last week. In his last 8 games, went 12 for 25, hit 4 homers, and had a home run earlier this year back in July off Bumgarner when he was still a member of the Reds. Overall, 33 homers and 99 runs driven in. The pitch count is extremely low for Bumgarner through 2 after that fly ball to right field. 6 up and 6 down on 14 pitches for Bumgarner so far. Every game of the postseason can be heard on ESPN Radio. Joe Panik leads off the 3rd against Noah Syndergaard. What did you guys think of that ball game last night in Toronto?
Well, the finish was unreal, and I know we're going to get to the bullpen of the Orioles, but the fact that Encarnacion, if you were going to circle a guy in that lineup to get it done, the fashion he did it in Toronto, so electric. I mean, I couldn't go to sleep for hours afterwards because of the emotions after that ball game.
Quickly 0-2 on Panik. Syndergaard has struck out 3 of the first 6 he's faced. Got him on 3 pitches. Now here's the home run that Jess was talking about. If anybody didn't see it, this is an extra innings last night at Rogers Center. And Edwin Encarnacion with a no doubt about it 3-run shot into the seats to the left. The Blue Jays beat the Orioles 5-2 and advance on to what should be a very interesting series with Texas. No love lost, to say the least, between those 2 teams. Aaron, I'm sure you were asked about it a lot today. Your thoughts on Zach Britton not pitching in that game?
Stunning. And really, when the 11th inning started, I agreed with all the moves to that point. I was surprised when Brian Dunsing started the 11th inning. He obviously retires Carrera, and at that point to bring Ubaldo in with not a lot of bullpen experience and command being an issue sometimes for Ubaldo Jimenez at that point in the order, real tough pill to swallow that you're the Orioles and you have the best pitcher in the American League perhaps this year doesn't get in the ballgame.
0-2 the count on third baseman Connor Gillespie. The Blue Jays, by the way, today issued an apology to the Orioles for the fan who threw the beer can near or at Hyun-Soo Kim. Police are trying to apprehend that person right now. Obviously an inexcusable event. And it's on to Arlington for Toronto as they open up a division series tomorrow. 1-2 to Gillespie. Checks the swing on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball up and away.
Just the amount of time, 98 miles per hour coming at you, and you'll see Gillespie choking up just a little bit to try to get his barrel to the ball, but such a small amount of reaction time, so difficult to hold up, but he does it there.
4 consecutive strikeouts for Syndergaard.
And again, Dan, what I love that he's doing is he's getting ahead, but then he continues to challenge the strike zone. There was just that one at bat to Crawford where he got real deep in the count, but otherwise, despite 5 strikeouts now through 8 hitters, very pitch efficient, and it's because he's attacking the strike zone, completely trusting its stuff.
8 up, 8 down, 5 strikeouts for Syndergaard. And here's his counterpart, arguably the best hitting pitcher in baseball in Madison Bumgarner. And he swings at the first pitch and sends a fly ball to left center, deep but playable for Granderson. And the inning is over. fan is presented by Hankook Tire. Dan Schulman, Jessica Mendoza, Aaron Boone, Buster Olney at Citi Field. Madison Bumgarner and Noah Syndergaard are both dealing in the early going. Bumgarner's retired the first 6 that he's faced, needed only 14 pitches for those 6 outs. Syndergaard has mowed down the Giants, 9 up, 9 down, 5 strikeouts. Syndergaard will bat third this inning. This is Rene Rivera, the catcher. And he lines the ball into center field, the first base runner of the night. He's now 3 for 4. Small sample size alert, but 3 for 4 in his career against Bumgarner.
What Rene Rivera does a really good job of, he knows Madison Bumgarner is going to come inside and does a nice compact swing, keeps his hands close to his body and takes a pitch that's breaking into the hands. And watch how close his hands stay to his body so that his barrel can get to this ball and just drive it up the middle for a base hit.
Rivera, guy released by Tampa Bay right at the end of spring training, his first year with the Mets. He's also been with the Mariners, the Twins, the Padres, finding a home this year and catching a lot of Noah Syndergaard. As James Loney hits the first pitch out to second, to the bag, one on to first, still in time. In spite of a little bobble juggle there by Crawford, still had time to get Loney for the double play.
A good job by Crawford, understanding he still had plenty of time with Loney running. Looked like maybe he got a little bit of a changeup here from Joe Panik. Trying to kind of flying across, does a good job knowing he's got to hold the bag, of just stopping his momentum, holding the bag with that right foot, knowing he's got time and plenty of time to get Loney.
So here's Syndergaard, like Bumgarner, one of the best hitting pitchers in baseball. He had 3 home runs this year, 2 of them in the same game at Dodger Stadium. Also had 3 doubles on the season. Neither pitcher taking the other lightly when they step into the batter's box.
So you saw in Bumgarner's first at bat, Syndergaard went first pitch slider, knowing the danger that Bumgarner possesses on that first pitch, especially in the power department. A good swing, but a well located slider, had it just off the end.
Swing and a miss at a 93-mile-an-hour fastball, 1-2.
And now he's got that outside corner. Now does he work the slider in that same tunnel, break it off, and see if he can get Syndergaard to chase.
Fastball swung on and missed, and it's another very quick inning for Bumgarner. No score at the end of 3. Buster Olney.
Bruce, first 3 innings, only 1 hit for these 2 teams. Let's start with your guy. What are you seeing in Madison Bumgarner?
He's making good pitches early. They're aggressive, but he's making quality pitches, and he's pitching very efficiently right now, and pretty much what we thought so far.
Second time through the order, what do you want to see against Syndergaard from your hitters?
Well, just try to stay on it. You know, he's got such a good fastball, but it's moving too. It's peeling away, and don't try to pull him. But you know, still, you got to be a little bit early when you're facing that kind of velocity.
Bruce, thanks.
5 strikeouts through 3 for Syndergaard as he starts Denard Span with a curveball for his strike at 81 miles an hour. He struck out Span to begin the ball game. Span will be followed by Brandon Belt and then Buster Posey. Reyes a step inside the bag at third. And Span fouls it back, and it's an 0-2 count.
Back-to-back curveballs there. We'll see if he breaks that out a little bit more the second time through, really overpowering the Giants lineup with the fastball the first go around. 2 breaking balls to start out Span.
Late on it, he pushes it foul over the third base dugout.
I love that he keeps pounding the strike zone, though. With 0-2, a lot of times you see guys waste pitches, but that's why he's been pitch efficient to this point with the number of strikeouts he has, and really commanding the outer half to these left-handed hitters, staying away from trouble.
Great strike to ball ratio thus far for Syndergaard. Just inside. And the throw from Rivera over Syndergaard. So a new ball put in play. Syndergaard had a great start against the Giants on August the 21st out in San Francisco. 8 shutout innings, allowed only 2 hits. Right about the time the Mets were beginning that 6-week run back into the race and eventually into the playoffs.
I think the 2 best pitching performances we saw on Sunday Night Baseball this year was that outing you talked about of Syndergaard in San Francisco and Madison Bumgarner in San Francisco right before the All-Star break against the Diamondbacks, one in which he carried a no-hitter late into the ball game.
And no surprise, we've got nothing but zeros up on the board here in the 4th inning tonight. Down and in. Syndergaard became the first starter in modern Major League history to strike out 350 or more and walk 80 or fewer in his first 54 Major League starts. Not only the power, but as you say, Aaron, he's pounding the strike zone. That changeup will run down and away. He's really mixing it up a lot here with Span.
That's a great take by Span, though.
You saw him want a bite.
Yep. And again, this is not a juggernaut of an offense by the Giants, but this is something they do very good. They can work the count, and if you don't come into the zone, they can more often than not work that walk.
3-2. Just high for ball 4, and the Giants have their first base runner of the night.
Well, I think stayed up a little bit.
What Syndergaard did the first time through the order is he really commanded his fastball away. He started inside the zone to get a lot of swing and misses, and then he worked his fastball off the plate and up. So after getting the swing and misses in the zone, he worked away, and then he was able to come right back over the middle, bring it by him 98 miles an hour.
So now what comes into play is the Major League high 48 stolen bases allowed when Syndergaard has been on the mound. And Art Span is not a burner at this point, but he can still steal a base. He had 12 on the season. The Giants were 3 for 3 against Syndergaard in May. They were 0 for 2 trying to steal against Syndergaard in August when Rivera was behind the plate and threw out Eduardo Nunez and Trevor Brown. Will they be ultra aggressive here? Because Syndergaard, a big guy, is slow to the plate.
I think they absolutely have to look to run when they get opportunities here, because especially the way Syndergaard is throwing the ball tonight, there may not be very many opportunities, and there may not be opportunities for extra base hits. Force the issue and try and set up some scoring situations with your legs.
The numbers for Span: 12 for 19 on the season. Leadoff man aboard. Shift on for the Mets. 3 on the right side. A lot of room over on the left side. And shifting that extensively, even with Syndergaard throwing 97 to 99 miles an hour, you'd think some balls would go the other way, but they're still playing belt to pull.
Yeah, and Syndergaard has been pretty quick to home plate. I don't think he has to worry too much about that. I think the way he can slow the running game down is just by varying his times, varying his looks, and not allowing them to get a great jump against him. He doesn't have to be overly quick to home plate because you don't want it to come in and affect his great pitching.
I'm sorry, Aaron. Terry Collins told us before the game Syndergaard has gotten better at dealing with the running game. He's not great by any stretch of the imagination, but his times to the plate have come down, and those percentages you just saw there reflect that. Runner goes, pitch high, throw down, and out at second is Span. And he's saying, no, 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 have a look. And the Giants dugout is doing just that.
It's all going to be where the tag ends up. I think the tag might have come in high with Span possibly getting underneath.
Left foot to the bag before the glove is on the midsection. Boy, that one, if I'm the Giants, I'd at least want to have a look. Remember, in a playoff game, he's in there safely.
Yeah.
In a playoff game, you get 2 challenges, so you can get one wrong and still retain another. So you got to think the Giants are going to look at this, and they are.
The only question I would have, his foot definitely beats that tag. Does he hold the bag the entire time? It's a good pitch to handle for Rivera behind home plate. As the ball's up, he's able to get rid of it quickly with a lot on it. But what I'm surprised at is how quick Noah Syndergaard appeared to be to home plate there. Quicker than we've seen for much of the season.
The crowd just saw a replay, and you heard a lot of noise. I mean, a lot of them are cheering. I think some of them are groaning. There doesn't appear to be any question that the left foot got there before the tag was applied, and I don't know that he ever lost touch with the bag. But again, the call on the field is out, so will they overturn it?
And he does such a good job on this slide. Watch him lie back, because this has been a huge problem with slides on replays. Is a lot of guys, like you mentioned, Boone, pop back up. So what does he do? He exaggerates. He lies down his backside. He gets his back down on the bag after knowing that he got to the base first to make sure that he would not pop back up.
I don't think he ever lost contact with the base.
He's safe. That's a really good slide. And I think he understood that it was going to be a really close play, and that's why he did that. And he got full extension, Jess, with that leg.
Before replays, you would never see someone slide like that.
Ouch! Bochy can't believe it. Span can't believe it. And we will have to wait to be told by Major League Baseball whether this is a call that stands or confirms. And at the end of the day, he's out either way. Did the left foot come off before the right leg got to the bag?
I think from the angle we saw from third base, his foot, no question, beat the throw. But I think it might have been that call where maybe it came off for a split second.
So it's caught stealing 2-5 on the putout with Reyes taking the throw. Again, clearly the foot beats the tag, but did he lose contact with the base there for a split second while Reyes's glove was on him? Again, because it's a playoff game, teams have 2 challenges rather than 1, so the Giants still have a challenge remaining.
And Ron Woda's still on the phone there, wondering what they might have seen.
And again, it's semantics really, but baseball is supposed to let us know in that kind of a situation whether the call stands or confirms. Stands means there's not enough to overturn it. Confirm means we're sure that the call on the field was right. We'll pass that along if and when we get it. At the end of the day, he's out either way. It's just how they decide to describe why they made the call that they did. And now Belt will draw the walk. Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern here on ESPN, we will have #1 Alabama taking on #16 Arkansas, with each team facing its biggest test of the season so far. The Tide have won 17 straight, while QB Austin Allen leads the Razorback offensive attack. This one has big-time SEC and playoff implications, and it can also be seen streaming live on the ESPN app and Watch ESPN. So Syndergaard, after retiring the first 9 of the night, 5 by strikeout, has walked the first 2 batters here in the 4th inning. Span is thrown out trying to steal. Belt's at first with 1 out now, and the batter is Buster Posey. And Posey with a fly ball to right field takes Bruce back. 2 down. Back to first, Belt.
Belt at first base. 0 steals and 4 chances on the season, so he's not likely to challenge, especially with the middle of the order here. And especially with Syndergaard being a little quicker to home plate than we're used to seeing, I don't think he needs to worry about that with Belt, especially with a dangerous Hunter Pence digging in.
Pence flied out to center his first time up.
Jess, you talked about Buster Posey and his ability to handle high velocity. That fly out there was the 4th consecutive slider after that real good swing you highlighted. So Syndergaard, Rivera taking notice and understand that Posey can handle his velocity.
And Pence in his last at bat, Syndergaard actually missed his location on the fastball. Rivera wanted it up in the zone and ended up low, and Pence roped and out to center field, but that's going to be in the back of their mind, is staying more up in the zone, especially with the fastball to Hunter Pence.
It's where you're 2-0, go hunt a pitch elevated on the outer half and look to pound it the other way.
3-0, and Rivera again out from behind the plate trying to encourage Syndergaard. And back to the span play out at second. We are told the call stands, which means the officials in the replay center have decided that there was not enough to overturn it. They're not confirming it, but they're saying there's not enough to overturn the call on the field. 3-0, and Pence will take a strike off the outside edge. 3-1. He's looking down at where that ball crossed the plate, thinking to himself, I don't think that was a strike.
Dan, I think he had the green light the way he took this pitch, but I think he just read it as being away and clearly a little bit off the plate. It was, we told you, winners will call that pitch a little off the plate away and usually down.
And that one's right on the black, and it's 3-2.
Well, the toughest part about the location of this fastball, if you're Hunter Pence, is it only sets up his slider in the same tunnels. We've seen 2 consecutive fastballs perfectly painted away for 2 strikes. But now Pence has got to protect.
Loney off the bag, playing behind the runner Belt, who's on the move with the pitch. There he goes, 3-2, swung on and missed, and the inning is over. Strikeout number 6 for Noah Syndergaard. Scoreless still at Citi Field.
Terry, 4 hitless innings for Noah Syndergaard. Specifically, what do you see him doing well?
Well, he just got great stuff. I mean, the first 3 innings he was locating. He kind of lost a little control that inning, but, you know, he's on tonight. He's got his good stuff going, and he's going to be hard to hit.
Madison Bumgarner, 3 scoreless innings, 21 pitches. How much is that low pitch count a concern for you with your hitter's approach?
Yeah, we got to make him work a little bit harder. You know, he's a guy that we know he throws a lot of strikes, but you can't let him get away earlier. He'll go way deep in the game.
Terry, thanks.
Okay.
Here's Jose Reyes, and that question, Buster, the second question that Buster asked Terry Collins is a very important one. The low pitch count for Bumgarner, as everybody knows, looking back to 2014, Bruce Bochy's got no issues with riding Bumgarner deep into a ball game. He can go over the 100, 105, where you typically see starters starting to come out of a game, and he'll be his own closer if this one keeps going at this pace.
Well, and Dan, talking to Mets hitters yesterday on their approach to Bumgarner, all of them were clearly, we want to get to him early in the count. We feel like that's when he's going to pitch more over the plate. However, that didn't work the first time through because they were early, they were aggressive, but instead they were only helping him out with his pitch count.
Just 1 hit in the game. It belongs to Mets catcher Rene Rivera. Reyes popped up his first time up and pops one back foul just below us. 2 balls, 2 strikes now the count.
Pretty well located with that fastball. I feel like the first time through the order, Bumgarner's been obviously very pitch efficient, but he actually hasn't located his fastball to that inside part of the plate to the righties as well as he'd like. I think so far he's been getting the Mets hitters out with just his unusual delivery, his deception, and that sneaky heater.
Down and in with a slow breaking ball, and it's a full count now on Reyes.
I think that's the hardest thing about Madison Bumgarner is he will throw you middle. He will bring it over the plate, but that deception you mentioned, Booney, is why the mishits, the soft contact, because it is not easy to see, even though you know what's coming.
3-2. Well, of all the Madison Bumgarner stats, and there are so many that are so impressive, this is his 3rd start in a winner-take-all game. The wild card game 2 years ago, 3rd appearance in a winner-take-all game. The wild card game 2 years ago, throws a shutout. 5 innings in relief in Game 7 of the World Series. 3 innings so far tonight. 17 innings in his career in winner-take-all games, and he hasn't given up a run yet. Fly ball to right field, 1 down.
Well, let's take a look at Madison Bumgarner so far tonight. Really trying to establish the fastball into these right-handed hitters. But as you'll see here, he's missing a lot on the plate. The one good thing with a guy like Cespedes is there's some elevation, which is a problem for him. That's a pitch, though, that Jay Bruce had a pretty good swing on the plate. But that deception just enough to have these Mets hitters underneath the ball.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera, tapped back to the mound his first time up. Bumgarner has faced the minimum thus far tonight as he starts it with a curveball for a strike. They called that a ball. They called that a ball. That's 1-0 on Cabrera. And there's a liner foul, just foul down the left field line. 1-1 on Cabrera.
And you could just tell that Cabrera's completely sold out on that pitch. First pitch curveball, missed for a ball. 1-0, he sold out fastball in, just a little quick and couldn't quite keep it fair. But I love the aggressive approach there in the hitter's count.
Rounded foul, 1-2.
And that's a beautiful cat and mouse. You see Posey, Bumgarner, excellent at reading swings. Understand that Cabrera really got aggressive on that fastball. Let's go right back to slowing things down. Plant that off-speed seed in his head, not only for this at-bat, but for at-bats to come.
High fly ball down the left field line. Pagan over near the seats, and this one will be well back out of play. The American League Division Series begin tomorrow. 2 games for you. It'll be the Blue Jays in Arlington to take on the Rangers. 4:30 Eastern time start. And then the Red Sox and Indians from Cleveland. Game 1 of that series. Both can be seen on TBS. Both can be heard here or on ESPN Radio, as every game of the postseason can be heard throughout the month of October. What about the Red Sox and the Indians? The Indians playing well right to the finish line, and they kind of snuck home field in that series away from Boston. Both National League Division Series begin on Friday. Yoenis Cespedes waiting on deck for the Mets. 2-2. Fair ball. And Cabrera will be content with a single.
Cabrera's seen the ball so well throughout that entire bat, from the foul ball that just missed to fouling off fastballs, being able to spit on the curveball, and here he takes a pitch on the inner half, a breaking ball, and just does a nice job with 2 strikes, being able to protect the fastball. No, the curveball is also there, but with this breaking ball, gets it just fair for a single.
Been a big part of what the Mets have accomplished so far this season. Here's Yoenis Cespedes, popped up his first time up. Second hit of the night for the Mets. Runner at first, 1 out, no score, bottom of the 4th. And a strike.
Perfect location. That's where Bumgarner wants it. He wants it at the top of the strike zone and in on the hands of Cespedes. We'll see if at some point he shows him something off speed to keep him honest. But you got to be careful with the secondary stuff in the strike zone to Cespedes.
On the appeal, no swing. It's 1-1. Re-signed a 3-year deal with the Mets. Can opt out at the end of this season. It's a rowdy bunch right now here in Flushing. The team went all the way to the World Series last year before falling to the Royals.
And that's a great take again by Cespedes, because this is why, to your point, Booney, he likes the ball down in the zone, and not just for hits. His career home runs, those are all those dots in almost all of them. Lower half of the zone, and that's where he should be sitting.
But Bumgarner continues to locate up right where Posey wanted it.
And I love that they haven't even messed around right now with anything secondary. They're just saying, I'm going to challenge the top of the zone or just above the zone with Cespedes, knowing that's the spot where he is vulnerable. And Bumgarner and Posey's confident that they can locate it up there.
So 2 balls, 2 strikes, the count on Cespedes as Cabrera draws a throw. Cabrera, as we mentioned, still favoring a sore knee since coming off the DL. Unlikely a threat to run.
It really is remarkable what he's done essentially on one leg, playing shortstop, and the impact he's had with the bat. He has been tremendous and a big reason they're here.
2-2. Another high fastball fouled back.
We'll see if the temptation is there for them to bounce a breaking ball at some point, especially because they've got him kind of in swing mode right now. He's shown he can at least get to and spoil that high fastball. At some point, do they try and flip a breaking ball in the dirt? The problem with that is if you miss with it on the plate, that's a lot of times a pitch Cespedes will do a lot of damage with.
There is the low breaking ball, and he just did get a piece of it.
And that shows a lot about Yoenis Cespedes to foul that pitch off after seeing 4 consecutive fastballs up in the zone, out of the zone, fouling them off, and then to take a curveball, almost hits the ground and just get a piece.
Two balls, 2 strikes as the battle continues between Bumgarner and Cespedes. No score, bottom 4. Yes, he did, says home plate umpire Mike Winters. He went around, and that's out number 2.
Well, just great pitch selection and great execution by Bumgarner. High fastball, high fastball, high fastball. You've got him in swing mode. He's able to spoil a breaking ball, and I bet Cespedes in the back of his mind was thinking, okay, maybe they were just showing me that to get back to the fastball. They double up on that breaking ball, and as you can see, Cespedes does go too far for the second out.
So here's Granderson, popped up his first time up. If nothing else this inning, at least the Mets have made Bumgarner throw some pitches. He's thrown as many pitches in this inning as he did in the first 3 combined. Oh, 2.
That was a dirty pitch. This is a front door, and you can tell by the reaction of Granderson, because it looks like, first of all, out of his hand, it looks like it's going to hit Granderson, but then even on the release, and you see there the turn of Granderson, it comes right back over the plate for a strike.
Well, especially, Jess, when he established the fastball so much his first time through. Now all of a sudden he goes slider for strike 1 and then throws that slow curveball where he throws it at your front shoulder. You're almost guaranteed to flinch.
Back with a fastball upstairs, ball 1.
And Bumgarner really starting to execute now. He's making the pitches I think he wants. It feels to me now like he's really into the flow of this game and has his command now.
Down and away, and Granderson wouldn't chase.
Good job by Posey there, who's really become an elite defender. Not only the way he runs the game, calls the game, frames pitches, but there you see pretty difficult block down and away, keeping that runner from moving up into scoring position.
Bouncer foul. Great scene here in this ballpark. No score, bottom four, and a pitcher's duel between Syndergaard and Bumgarner, just as advertised. Boy, a good pitch and a good job by Granderson to get a piece. He'll see a lot of pitches, and he's seen a lot of pitches in this at-bat from Bumgarner. Bumgarner's now thrown 26 pitches this inning. Here comes number 27. And it's a full count. TJ Rivera on deck should the inning continue. He was unbelievably efficient in the first three. They've made him work here in the fourth. Runner goes. And a swing and a ball driven to center field, but Span is there, and the inning is over. No runs, a base hit, and a man left. We're at the end of four at Citi Field. Still no score. Syndergaard and Bumgarner living up to the matchup. First pitch swinging, Brandon Crawford. Fly ball center field. One down. Official caps, t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, and more. Celebrate your favorite team with the latest postseason gear at MLBshop.com. With Aaron Boone, Jessica Mendoza, Buster Olney, I'm Dan Schulman. The National League wildcard game here on ESPN. Who will go on to meet the Chicago Cubs in a series that will begin Friday at Wrigley? Cubs, the best team in baseball this year. Over 100 wins. Here's Angel Pagan. The other NLDS features the Dodgers and the Nationals in what should be a great series. Pagan struck out his first time up. That was in a stretch where Syndergaard struck out 4 consecutive Giants. And Angel Pagan remembering Jose Fernandez, as many are in baseball still. Oh, 2. Out of play off to the left.
All fastballs in the first 2 at-bats to this point with Pagan. Has not shown the ability to catch up with it yet. I don't think there's any need to mess around. Continue to just pour that fastball in on that outer half.
Just outside.
Definitely just a little bit off the plate. Love the pitch selection though. Syndergaard just saying, I'm cutting loose with my best heater, down and away. Just a little bit off the plate.
And Pagan fights off another one. Pagan sees more fastballs than any other major league hitter, and even if you're used to a lot of fastballs, you don't see many like you're getting tonight from Syndergaard. As Rivera now out to the mound to have a conversation face to face with his pitcher. Well, we got 2 big fellas on the mound. We got 6'6", 242 for the Mets and 6'5", 248 for the Giants. They go about it differently out on the mound. Syndergaard bringing as much heat with his fastball as any starting pitcher in the game, averaging about 98 miles per hour. Got him with a 93-mile-an-hour slider. 2 down.
I think that's why Rivera went out to talk to Syndergaard before that last pitch, is where he wanted it located. He wanted it in the strike zone, come right at Pagan, sitting fastball away, and instead this breaks right into his hands. 93 miles per hour, about 5 to 6 miles an hour slower than all the pitches that Pagan had been fouling off up until this point.
And they're loving it here in the stands, in the dugout, in the bullpen, everywhere at Citi Field. 7 strikeouts through 4 2/3 for Syndergaard. The Giants don't have a hit yet. Syndergaard did issue 2 walks in the 4th inning. Here's Joe Panik, who struck out his first time up. Panik missing some time in the second half of the season with a concussion this year, and struggled at the end of the year. Just 8 for his last 62. The Giants 57-33 at the All-Star break. That was the best mark in baseball, even better than the Cubs. But in the second half of the year, everything that went right seemed to go wrong for the Giants. They went 30-42 after the break, and actually had to win their last 4 games of the season just to get to 30-42, and clinched a playoff spot on Sunday, on the last day of the regular season. Swing and a miss at a changeup, 2-2.
And one of the issues for the Giants in the second half of the season, as it looked like one of the rare changeups we've seen tonight from Syndergaard. You see just a little bit off in that low 90s, and Panik way out in front.
Went back to it, another change, and he struck him out again. 8 strikeouts through 5 scintillating innings for Noah Syndergaard. He keeps mowing them down, and it remains scoreless. Rizzo, and of course the manager Joe Maddon, no doubt looking on and wondering who their opponent will be starting on Friday. I guess maybe for Grandpa Rossi, is it past his bedtime? David Ross couldn't make the cartoon, couldn't stay up this late. The Cubs won the season series from the Giants. They lost the season series to the Mets 5-2. John Lester will start game 1 for the Cubs on Friday. Here's a looper down the left field line. That's going to drop in for a hit. On his way to second, T.J. Rivera in there with a stand-up double.
True to Bumgarner's form, a lot of secondary pitches the second time through the order, and Rivera a little bit out in front, but able to keep this ball fair as he gets it off the end of the bat. And because he doesn't hit it very hard, he's able to challenge the throwing arm of Pagan and easily gets into second base. A chance now for Bruce, if nothing else, to have a productive out with a pulled grounder to the right side.
The little things become the big things in a game of this magnitude and in a game this tight. Can Bruce advance the runner? Curveball for a strike. Did a great job driving in runs, hitting in the clutch with the Reds, not so much with the Mets, although, as we mentioned, finished off the regular season very well over the last 8 games. Trying to continue that momentum into the postseason. Check the swing, and it's off the outside edge on the appeal. No swing, 1-1 on Bruce.
He's looking to get something that he can pull in this situation. A good job by him of realizing that's a little too far to pull with any kind of authority, and clearly just off the plate away.
Rivera with a leadoff double. And a ground ball. That is a foul ball. Just foul up the first baseline. So that'll send Rivera back to second. T.J. Rivera is 27 years of age, a few weeks away from turning 28, an undrafted free agent, signed as a non-drafted free agent by the Mets back in 2011, and again, just one of those key guys Mets fans intimately aware of. All the Lugos and Gesellmans and Kellys and Riveras and so many players who have helped out this injury decimated team, as Bruce swings through it And Bumgarner picks up a big first out without the runner advancing. David Wright has missed most of the season, had surgery on his neck, so they get Reyes. He plays third. Neil Walker out. They call up Rivera. He plays second. We talked about all the starting pitchers who are out, so Lugo and Gesellman go into the rotation, and they do a great job. Just injury after injury and fill-in after fill-in, getting it done. Matt Harvey hoping to be back healthy and strong in 2017. We asked Terry Collins, when you were 60 and 62 on August 19th, did you think you'd be standing here tonight? And his quote was no, because they were dropping like flies. It was a daily occurrence that somebody was getting hurt.
And now you got a situation here. Rivera, not a great hitter by any stretch of the imagination, but now 3 for 4 with a home run in his career, with first base open and back-to-back lefties lurking. I would expect them to at least pitch carefully to Rivera with a runner in scoring position.
2-0. Rivera with a base hit his first time up. Little pacing now for Bruce Bochy, talking it over with his pitching coach Dave Righetti. You can see getting down near the bottom of the lineup for the Mets. Loney on deck, then Syndergaard, but Syndergaard, like Bumgarner, a very dangerous hitter. Big swing and a miss, 2-1.
And they got away with a mistake. You saw Buster Posey wanted it up at the top of the zone, and this catches a lot of the plate and is about thigh high. This is not where they wanted to. They get away with it though as he blows it past Rivera.
Remember, Rivera with the base hit he had in the third is 3 for 4 now in his career against Bumgarner. The Mets are carrying 3 catchers. The Giants are only carrying 2. A really different looking lineup for both teams. The Mets are carrying 2 more position players than the Giants, 2 fewer pitchers than the Giants. Bruce Bochy with the ability to mix and match like crazy out of the pen later if he needs to. But the Mets feel they need more off the bench. They'll need to pinch hit. They'll need to pinch run. They may double switch, so they've got more position players, not feeling they need as many relievers. And again, you can adjust your roster after each round, and this constitutes a round. Full count pitch. Big pitch coming up here to Rivera. T.J. Rivera at second. Rene Rivera, no relation at the plate. No score, bottom 5. And a ground ball to short. They got the runner hung up. Got him in a rundown between second and third. The tag applied, but Rene Rivera does wind up at second on the play. So in effect, just trading places with T.J. Rivera. Now 2 down.
And this is where T.J. Rivera, even though he gets hung up, you're going to see him in this rundown look back and check on Rene Rivera to make sure that he's trying to get to second base. You see, as he's going back, he glances over to make sure that Rene's getting there to try to stay in this rundown as long as possible, so it's not a completely wasted out.
Yeah, go ahead. Grab this.
You see him whack himself on the head there, though. A big mistake. And he put a slower runner out there at second. Now they'll probably walk Loney, I would imagine, and pitch to Syndergaard.
6-5, 4-6 on the put out in the rundown, and they are going to put Loney on. Loney won't get a chance to swing the bat here. He did on Saturday, had one of the biggest hits of the season for the Mets, a home run against the Phillies that broke a 2-2 tie in what was eventually a 5-3 win, and it was that win that clinched a playoff spot and allowed the Mets to not have to use Noah Syndergaard on Sunday, and that allowed him to start the game here tonight. There's the intentional walk. So here's a look at the playoff picture after the American League wild card game last night with the Blue Jays beating the Orioles. They're off to Arlington in a rematch of last year. 2 teams that don't like each other, to say the least. Red Sox and Indians get going tomorrow night. The Dodgers and the Nationals will start Friday afternoon, and the winner of this will be at Wrigley Field on Friday night. All games can be heard on ESPN Radio. So 2 on with 2 out. And Syndergaard a swing and a miss, 0-1.
Guys, during the regular season, Bumgarner issued exactly 0 intentional walks.
Wow. Syndergaard, as mentioned, a very good hitter for a pitcher. 3 homers, 3 doubles, and a 190 average during the season.
And I think that intentional pass there had as much to do with how Syndergaard's throwing the ball and looking like runs are going to absolutely be at a premium. Normally you'd like to attack a lefty on lefty scenario there with just 1 runner in scoring position to maybe have the pitcher lead off the next inning, but too risky to attack a hitter. I think you go Bumgarner lefty on lefty with Syndergaard. I think this is the right move.
Check swing, ball 1. Again, at least the Mets are making Bumgarner throw some pitches after he threw only 21 through the first 3 innings total. He's at 68 now. Swing and a miss at a slow curveball, and that's the inning as the Mets will leave a couple of men on. At the end of 5, Giants nothing, Mets nothing here in the wild card game. Getting what for from Mrs. Met here. Giants and Mets. No score, top 6. Syndergaard and Bumgarner. The Mets with just 3 hits off Bumgarner. The Giants don't have one yet off Syndergaard. This is Connor Gillespie, the third baseman. He's filling in for the injured Eduardo Nunez, who was not on the roster for this game because of a hamstring injury. Gillespie, who originally came up with the Giants after being drafted by them in 2008, returned to the organization this year. And in the last week of the season went 7 for 14 and made that sensational catch that you may have seen over the weekend, falling into the camera bay on the third base side of the field. The Giants have had a history in their great years of having guys fill in and rise to the occasion. A Cody Ross or a Marco Scudero, a Travis Ishikawa with a series-winning home run. 1-2. On the appeal, he went around, and that's strikeout number 9.
Well, Syndergaard continues to dominate the outer half of the strike zone. Fastball, fastball, changeup, and then let me mix in a slider here and bounce it. Gillespie cannot hold up, clearly goes around. This is a truly dominating performance to this point by Syndergaard.
Now Bumgarner swung at the first pitch he saw back in the third and hit a fly ball to pretty deep left center field. About the best contact the Giants have had off Syndergaard in this game.
And I love at this point, I think for the most part he's got to continue to just pound his fastball away. He can work his secondary pitches off of that, but no need to mess with the middle or inner half of the plate. Stay away from danger and force the Giants to string hits together against you, especially when you're dialed in like this, as it's another off-speed pitch that Bumgarner is out in front of.
Back to the breaking ball. On the appeal, no swing. 2-1 the count on Bumgarner. Two and 2.
Syndergaard, after consecutive curveballs, throws him a slider away. You could tell Bumgarner sitting fastball a little bit out in front as the pitch breaks away from his bat.
Strikeout number 10. Bumgarner didn't like it at all, thought it was low.
We talked about Mike Winters having a low strike zone, but this isn't low. This is on the plate, and this catches the bottom of K zone. You see Rivera looking to set up down and away. The ball drifts over the heart of the plate, but I think definitely catches the bottom of the strike zone. That's a pitch Bumgarner will want.
So for the second time tonight, Syndergaard has struck out 4 consecutive batters. Back to the top of the order now for Span. A huge night thus far for 24-year-old Noah Syndergaard. Little flare foul and beyond the reach of Reyes, and it's 0-2.
You guys know that if you get 15 swing and misses in a start, that's really good. He's already got 18 in this game.
Wow. Span, a strikeout and a walk. Everybody on their feet again at Citi Field in support of the guy they call Thor.
You know, and to Buster's point, it's the most difficult team to strike out in the National League already. 18 swing and misses. Speaking to the dominant stuff tonight and the location of Noah Syndergaard.
9 of the 10 strikeouts have been swinging. And he's still throwing 99.
He hasn't gone in much to these lefties, but every now and then, just to show him in there. That one very well located on the inside corner. That's the pitch I think he's got to be careful with. For as dominant as he's been, I think they go either off speed here or right back to away.
Shaking off Rivera a couple of times, and now Syndergaard steps off, and Rivera says, let's start this all over again. Looks like he wants a fastball away. Up and away, and it misses high for ball 1. And a base hit into center field for Span. The first hit of the night for the Giants.
Just a great job of getting to this pitch by Span, laying off a tough one up and out of the zone with 2 strikes. Here they try and backdoor that slider. They located for the most part how you want, although you see Rivera reach back over the heart of the plate. And Span with a good short swing, a clean single back through the middle. Now with 2 outs, we saw Span go earlier. I think you absolutely have to try and move here again if you're Denard Span, especially with 2 outs. You've got to try and get yourself into scoring position as much as Syndergaard's on his game.
One of the key moments of the game, Span thrown out trying to steal on a play that the Giants asked for a review, and it was upheld. The call stood, although it was easy to look at it from both sides, but Span was out at second. He is leaning. He got a big time jump. Throw down on a bounce, not in time. Span in just ahead of the throw with a stolen base.
And that's just great awareness by Span and not being gun shy. He gets cut down in his last time, but understanding the situation. This is 2 outs. We're having a hard time even getting on base. I need to roll the dice a little bit here. He gets a great jump, and now a scoring opportunity for Brandon Belt.
And he needed every bit of that jump. He kind of stutter stepped into a run and almost got going a little bit too early where Syndergaard could have stepped off.
Yeah, and I think that's once Syndergaard went to the plate, in your mind you've got such a good jump that maybe you almost slow down and make sure you get your steps right. Rivera did a good job of making it extremely close.
Here's Brandon Belt, a ground out and a walk. And that fastball runs down and away for ball 1.
Now if you're Belt here, you understand who's on deck. This is a situation where they're going to challenge you. Pick a side of the plate. He's been attacking away. Look out there and look for something you can drive through the infield.
Big goal, big hole where the shortstop would normally be playing. The shift on for the Mets, but Reyes can't stray. Cabrera, excuse me, is over on the left side by himself. Cabrera cannot stray too far from third base, or he'll just give it to Span uncontested. So a routine ground ball to short for Belt would produce a run in this situation if he can guide one in that direction. 2 down, runner at second, 1-2 the count, and the pitch up and away.
That's a great hold on Brandon Belt. He's seen a lot of fastballs up in the zone, and especially his first at bat. Syndergaard just attacked that area, and you saw him want a bite. Held up.
Pitch count climbing for Syndergaard. Just gave up his first hit, but about to throw his 90th pitch here in the 6th inning. 2-2. Fly ball center field and deep. Granderson still going back. Made the catch. He made the catch as he crashes into the wall. A remarkable play by Granderson to keep this game scoreless. Time. Brandon Belt couldn't believe it. Bottom 6, 0-0. Here's Jose Reyes as he shows bunt and takes outside, ball 1. We mentioned earlier Granderson has not been a regular center fielder since 2012, but he moved there this year to plug a gap. Cespedes in left, Bruce in right. Lagares was injured. And Granderson may not have quite the wheels that he once had, but he went and got that one and crashed into the wall a split second after he made the grab. Yeah, you deserve an exhale on that one. He's due up 4th this inning. 1-1 to Reyes, who's 0 for 2, and he takes ball 2. And Bumgarner in disbelief that wasn't called a strike.
Well, he's got a point. And Madison Bumgarner's going to react. It's a curveball that's right in the heart of the plate.
Bouncer to third. Big hop for Gillespie. And the stretch by Belt, 1 down. Let's go back to the Granderson catch.
Well, he had to do so many things right. First, look at the distance that he traveled. I mean,
and Bumgarner and Winters, as we'll show you the replays in a moment, they got to talking again, but now here's the catch by Granderson.
And the distance that he goes to make this catch, but also the awareness of where he's at on the field. He's covering ground. He looks where the wall is and makes the catch knowing that he's going to run into it. Noah Syndergaard off the bat. This looked like it was going to be gone. At least a double off the wall. Definitely saved a run, and Belt understandably upset.
Bullpen loving it. The game's still scoreless as the Mets bat now in the bottom of the 6th. Granderson a couple of spots away. Here is Asdrubal Cabrera, 1 for 2.
Tell you what, you feel Belt's frustration there. A guy that's completely dialed in Syndergaard. You string together a real nice at bat to get it to 2-2. Get a pitch you can handle, get a pitch you can drive. Get it done, and a great play.
Bumgarner drops in a curveball for a strike, and it's 1-1 on Cabrera. With each passing inning where neither team scores gets a little more tense. Similar to the game last night in Toronto, although there were runs across, but it was this tight of a game for most of the night. That one went extra innings. Will this one need more than 9 to be decided?
I think what's impressive to me too is how each pitcher is adapting third time through the order. Right now, Bumgarner, you got to remember, Cabrera had a nice single off of him his last at bat, right there throwing him a breaking ball, not being predictable.
Posey the sign, Bumgarner the pitch, and he bounces in the curveball. 2-2. Yoenis Cespedes waiting on deck. And another curveball. This one misses low again, and the count is full. He's going to that pitch more and more the deeper he gets into the game. We've mentioned it every inning, but it bears repeating. 21 pitches through 3 innings for Bumgarner. He's at 78 now. So he's needed 57 pitches to get his last 7 outs. Up and away, he walked him.
Well, let's take a look at the cat and mouse game that's been going on with Bumgarner in his last at bat. From the 1-1 count, they continued to attack him with high fastballs. I felt like really had him in swing mode, and finally went to the first breaking ball against him of the night. He was able to spoil it, so they went a little bit further down and bounced it. Cespedes unable to hold up. And they were able to get him with the strikeout in his last at bat. We'll see how they attack him now. Again, fastballs up, breaking balls out of the strike zone, but you got to be careful with that breaking ball. Again, miss on the plate with it. It's a pitch he does damage with.
Runner at first, Cabrera, 1 out. And the high fastball fouled back on a big cut by Cespedes.
And as long as you stay at the top of that zone, sprinkling in that breaking ball, that's a pitch you can safely go with Cespedes.
Gives you a little insight into the ego view on a Cespedes too. That is a weak spot in where he can hit, yet he still wants to swing at it.
Again with a fastball, but he missed high, and Cespedes wouldn't bite. Edge of your seat kind of stuff here at Citi Field tonight. Bumgarner and Cespedes in a scoreless game, bottom 6. The winner tonight to face the Cubs in a division series. Curveball for a strike, 1-2.
Well, that's the first one he threw for a strike, but what he does good with this is he starts it off the plate, out of the hand, and from Bumgarner's angle. Cespedes sees this as a ball right away out of the hand. It comes back to the outer half, able to freeze Cespedes.
He went around and he knew it. Couldn't hold up on the high fastball. 2 down. That'll bring up Curtis Granderson, who's going to get a big ovation after the catch that he made last half inning. Always a smile on his face when he's at the ballpark, a guy who loves to play. And a guy who got a huge roar from this crowd when he made a run-saving catch to deny Brandon Belt in the top half of the 6th.
This was so good. The wall, the amount of distance he had to cover. He wasn't even in the picture when this ball was hit. He made that grab.
And a high strike as Bumgarner jumps out in front 0-1.
Well, we showed that Granderson routinely sees a lot of pitches each and every time, and a hallmark of him last postseason was the quality at bats he had against good pitching. And part of that is the strike zone discipline.
Bumgarner held lefties to a 178 batting average during the regular season, and you can see why with his size and the arm angle where he comes from, how tough it can be on a left-handed batter like Granderson. Fly ball to shallow center field. And that's the inning. A man left on. We're through 6. There's no score. And it's 3-4-5 coming up for the Giants. The base hit until there were two outs in the 6th inning. And he's only given up 1 hit tonight. The Mets only have 3, and there is no score going to the 7th in a win or go home ball game here at Citi Field. This inning, a big challenge for Syndergaard as he faces 3, 4, 5 Posey, Pence, and Crawford. Off the end of the bat, ground ball to first. Nice stop there by Loney. Run down. So now Hunter Pence, such a key part of this Giants team, and in many ways the heart and soul of this team, but a guy who missed a couple of months with a hamstring injury and subsequent surgery, finished the season strong. A real barometer sometimes, their record when he's in the lineup versus out of the lineup, and that could be a lot of different things, but there's no doubt when he's not there, they miss him. They are thrilled to have him back and healthy at the end of the season, helping them get into October. As he takes a little bit low ball 1. He has flied out and struck out so far tonight. No runs, 1 hit for the Giants. No runs, 3 hits for the Mets. There has not been an error in the game.
You see Hunter Pence a little frustrated with that call. First pitch looked like it caught the bottom of the zone. That pitch away, it's a couple of times Hunter Pence has thought some pitches were off the plate away tonight.
Outside, ball 2. In the outfield, they really play Pence to hit the ball to the opposite field. Now he'll use right center a lot, and with the velocity of Syndergaard, you don't expect him to pull quite as much. Big hole up the middle on the infield, a big gap in left center in the outfield. And a 2-hopper routine to short. Cabrera 2 down.
We've seen Noah Syndergaard utilize 4 of his 5 pitches very well tonight, bringing the heat with his 4-seam, his 2-seam fastball executed perfectly away to lefties, and then his slider at 93, just not fair, and his changeup 88 off that same tunnel as his fastball. Not a lot of the curveball, but those other 4, especially 3 times through the lineup, have been phenomenal.
I'm sorry, Jess. 20 swings and misses. An impressive number tonight for Noah Syndergaard, as he works with 2 outs here in the 7th, and now faces Brandon Crawford, who has struck out and flied out. 10 strikeouts already tonight for Syndergaard, and there's ball 1 away to Crawford.
Yep.
97 pitches. No hint of any activity, nor should there be at this point. But is there a number of pitches where Terry Collins says, do I send him out there again? Do I leave him in there anymore?
Well, 118, as you know, Dan, is the most he's thrown in a game this year. But I think the bigger decision might come down to he's due up 5th next inning. What if it's a great scoring opportunity and he's just over 100 pitches? That'll be the decision for Terry Collins.
And a fascinating one it would be. 2-0 changeup right there to Crawford, and he gets a swing and a miss, 2-1.
That changeup's off that same tunnel that he'll throw his fastball. Makes it very difficult for these hitters to pick up the velo.
So much of the focus is on his velocity, but he's just not a chucker out there. He's pitching too, right?
Especially with both his fastballs. I mean, he'll throw his 4-seam up in the zone. The 2-seam will run away to these lefties. It's just not fair when he's throwing 93 for a slider.
Let's see what he's thinking. 3-1.
Ball 4.
Missed ball 4. Don't forget, Saturday night, 7 o'clock Eastern here on ESPN. Number 1 Alabama and number 16 Arkansas, as each team face its biggest test of the season. The Tide have won 17 in a row. You can also see this game live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
Well, now again, you've got a 2-out situation with a runner on, and Brandon Crawford 7 for 7 in stolen base attempts this year. I think this is another time where you've got to look to try and get a jump. One thing for Rivera here, the way they've attacked Pagan has just pretty much been fastball away, with the exception of the 1 slider. It's fastball away, so they should have a good pitch to throw on should Crawford try and run. I think Crawford's got to be a little more selective and make sure he gets a really good jump if he is going to go.
And you saw lefty Jerry Blevins is now up in the pen for the Mets. Runner at first, 2 down, no score.
Here's the thing, Syndergaard's been a little quicker to home plate tonight than we've seen for much of the season. And I think he's got to be very careful that that doesn't leak into and affect his command, which has been so good tonight, and ultimately lead to something of a mistake out over the plate.
You guys remember that the big conversation over the winter was at the end of the World Series, the decision by Terry Collins to leave Matt Harvey in, talk his way into that last inning. The Mets wind up losing that game, and now he has a pitcher getting close to that point.
Over 100 pitches with 2 down in the 7th inning. Crowd urging him on. Crawford with 7 steals on the season was not caught. And will he be moving here to try to get himself into scoring position? The Giants are 1 for 2 tonight. Both span thrown out in the 4th, successful in the 6th. Another throw.
And I like this. Just try and slow the running game, control the running game with picks over to first base by varying the times with which you hold. Don't vary the delivery too much. You've been too dominant, and ultimately you've got 2 outs and a guy you've overpowered at the plate tonight.
A couple of steps, and then Crawford puts the brakes on. And it's 1-1. 48 stolen bases against Syndergaard this year, the most against any major league pitcher since Hideo Nomo had 52 stolen against him in 2001. Blevins continues to warm. And the cat and mouse game between Crawford and Syndergaard with Pagan at the plate continues. Not going. Fouled off 1-2. And the trend continues. We mentioned Pagan sees a higher percentage of fastballs than any hitter in baseball. And when you got one at 99, Syndergaard's not shying away from it. On their feet at Citi Field. Not going. And it's high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. A 105 pitches. Some lefties due up. The lefty up in the pen. Syndergaard trying to win the inning right here. And a bouncer to the right side. Syndergaard over to cover, but not in time. Pagan, who still runs well, will beat it out for an infield hit. And it's 1st and 2nd for the Giants.
Well, again, they tried to finish Pagan after another steady diet of fastballs.
No, I'm good.
They went something off speed, and they had Pagan out in front of it, but he's able to keep the bat in the zone long enough. And because he can get down the line and it's such a slow developing play, the only chance there was going to be if Loney was going to be able to get it, as Rivera just could not get enough on that throw with Syndergaard covering first.
So 1st and 2nd with 2 down. Just the 2nd hit of the night for the Giants, but it's a pivotal one. Moves a runner into scoring position for Joe Panik, who has struck out in both at bats tonight. Low ball 1. Syndergaard has dominated most of the night, but the pitch count has climbed. 3 walks tonight have lifted that pitch count. And a bouncer. Cabrera got him. The Giants leave a couple of men on. Syndergaard gets out of trouble.
Pitch count up to a point to where it's now you've gotten them out of the game and you can go to work on the bullpen.
Addison Reed, the 8th inning guy, the setup man, and one of the best in baseball in that role this year. He will come in to work this game here in the 8th inning. Meanwhile, Mets up now, bottom 7, T.J. Rivera. Backhanded stop. Crawford sets his feet and fires one over to first to get him. What an arm. And now Jay Bruce, who has flied out and struck out. Again, hit a home run off Bumgarner earlier this year when he was still a member of the Reds. He had 4 home runs against Giants pitching in one series while he was with Cincinnati. That was just before the trade. Fly ball to center. Still going back, but with room. Denard Span 2 down as we send it down to Buster.
Yeah, guys, and I think we can say that Madison Bumgarner has been there and done that. His demeanor before the game, when he walked into the clubhouse, he came in on the team's last bus, the late bus. His face was a little puffy because he had taken a nap on the bus over here with his hunting cap down over his eyes. Pretty relaxed before the game.
Extremely confident, and as you mentioned, he's been there, done that. This is his 3rd winner-take-all game. The wild card game in 2014, Game 7 of the World Series in 2014, in which he came in relief, and now tonight. And he has not given up a run. 20 2/3 innings, has not given up a run in winner-take-all games. Eric Campbell is on deck to bat for James Loney. As Terry Collins makes the move to get a right-handed bat in there should this inning continue, with a left-hand hitting Loney. Rivera, a base hit and a fielder's choice. And the curveball in there for a strike, and it's 0-2.
And that's been one of Madison's best pitches tonight, in the way that it has the arch, the break. It looks off the plate, comes back over, and especially to these righties, pretty much fooled him every time.
One ball, 2 strikes on the catcher Rivera. Nothing. Bottom 7. The winner on to face the Cubs in a division series beginning Friday night at Wrigley Field. The winner of this game, as mentioned, takes on the Cubs. It'll be the Dodgers and the Nationals in the other National League division series. Both series begin Friday. They continue Saturday, travel day Sunday, game 3 Monday. Aaron and I off to Wrigley to call that series for ESPN Radio. Will be a phenomenal atmosphere. So much hype. The prohibitive favorites, if you will, the Chicago Cubs. As Rivera fights one off towards right field, but Pence is there. And it's a quick inning for Bumgarner. Needs only 8 pitches. He has thrown 7 shutout innings, and it is still scoreless here at Citi Field.
Well, Addison Reed on 80 times this season. It was a dominating year. A whip under 1, an outstanding strikeout to walk ratio, and he dominated both right-handed and left-handers alike. You've got a fastball low to mid 90s that'll have some cut, some natural kind of run on it, and also a slider. But he has been a great setup man to Familia at the back end of this Met bullpen.
Connor Gillespie has struck out twice. And bounces one through the right side for a base hit. And that will bring up Madison Bumgarner. Meanwhile, Johnny Cueto is starting to stretch. Doesn't necessarily mean he's coming in, but he's on the roster. He wouldn't be on the roster if they didn't think there might be a chance they would use him if this game gets into extra innings. Perhaps Cueto is in line to come into this game. Bumgarner, known as a great hitter, he does not have a sacrifice this year. That doesn't mean he didn't try. He's got one now. A sacrifice for Bumgarner moves Gillespie to second. The little things so often seem to be the big things in a game like this. Syndergaard out of the game. All he can do is watch. Bumgarner just helped himself by moving a runner to second. And now back to the top of the order for Denard Span.
Span has had back-to-back real nice at-bats, working a walk and breaking up the no-hit bid in his last at-bat against Syndergaard. Now on to try and break this tie if he can get a ball to that outfield.
Look at the numbers that Span has against Addison Reed. Gillespie out at second with a one out. Giants hoping to break the tie here in the top of the eighth. And with Syndergaard out of the game and a man on for the Giants, guys, hasn't the whole vibe here changed at Citi Field? It's been a party for 7 innings, and Syndergaard a big part of that. But there's a lot of nervousness in this ballpark right now. The 1-0. Popped up. A big second out. Blevins up again in the pen.
Good job of Denard Span. Has been very strong, and you can tell all night long looking for something out over the plate that he can handle and work back through the middle of the field. This ball runs in on the hands a little bit and completely ties him up and gets on the handle. Weak contact and an easy pop out and a huge second out as Brandon Belt steps in.
A base open, but Buster Posey's on deck. And a foul back 0-1. Belt, as he so often does, sees the shift. Rivera way out on the outfield grass. Reyes still not that far from third because of the presence of the runner Gillespie at second. Belt 1 for 6 lifetime against Reed.
He just got a real good pitch to hit on that first pitch. Looked like a little slider or cutter in the heart of the plate, and he fouled it straight back.
A ball and a strike on Belt. A Giants team that has been in so many tight situations in 2014, 12, 10, always managed to find a way to win. Won the World Series in 10, 12, and 14. In fact, they have won 10 consecutive rounds if you include the wild card game as a round, which baseball does. They won the 2014 wild card game, so they have won 10 consecutive playoff rounds. Trying to make it 11 here tonight as Bell falls behind 1-2. Posey next if it continues. Reed ready. 1-2 on the way. Fouled back by Belt.
You're just waiting for that slider to come in there again. 3 fastballs in a row. Belt just missing. He laid off the slider down, but if he can get it a little bit more enticing.
Although I think with a pitch here to work with, if you're Addison Reed, I think you again try and challenge him at the top of the zone with the fastball.
Wow.
Well, he missed his spot so bad. They wanted to attack the top of the zone. Rivera, you see, calling for it up. And it looks like it catches the bottom of the strike zone according to K-Zone. But because Rivera had to reach so far down, he doesn't get the call.
So Belt's still up there with a count now of 2-2. Gillespie out at second with 2 down. Wow, again. 2 close pitches taken by Belt.
Well, and there's no flinch from Addison Reed as they want to go down and in with it. And this ball, this is a strike, and it should be called a strike, but because Rivera has to reach back across the plate, it gives the illusion that he misses his spot and it maybe misses the zone, but that is a strike.
And now low for ball 4 as Belt will draw the walk, and that'll bring up Buster Posey. A guy who has accomplished so much in his career, both individually and as part of the Giants team. He's been a part of all 3 World Series championship teams. Been a Rookie of the Year, an MVP, a Comeback Player of the Year, a Silver Slugger winner, you name it, he's done it. And he's got some numbers on Addison Reed. 4 for 7 with a home run.
And you've got to go at him carefully, even with Hunter Pence on deck. This is not a spot where at any point do you really want to give in with anything too good to Buster Posey.
Only look at even the pitches, and granted a different pitcher and Syndergaard, but all 3 at bats, good at bats. Pitches up in the zone, fastball, a slider, he hit very well. Done a good job tonight of being able to see and look for what he wants. Tonight he's shown that. I mean, up against the velocity early, but being able to hit the slider and react, that was just a miss. Looked like that was going to be a double. And his last at bat is putting the ball in play with 2 strikes.
Maybe the season on the line for these 2 teams right here. And Posey takes one that bounces off the glove of Rivera. A pass ball on Rene Rivera as the runners will advance.
Well, and did they call this a ball
again? I believe so, yeah.
Again, it's missing the spot a little bit and Rivera reaching back, but now they'll probably, as you see Collins trying to get Rivera's attention as they're going to put on Buster Posey now with first base open.
So a pass ball. They did call that pitch a ball. Now there will be an intentional walk. So Rivera having some issues, and now the bases will be loaded for Hunter Pence. A base hit by Gillespie got it started. Bumgarner bunted him to second. Span popped up for the second out. Belt took a couple of really close pitches and drew the walk. And now after the pass ball, an intentional walk to Posey to load him up for Pence. So Reed surrounded by runners. Bases loaded with 2 down. Gillespie, Belt, and Posey. The Giants try to break a scoreless tie. Hunter Pence, the batter. 0 for 3 tonight, 1 for 3 in his career against Reed. Here we go. Out of play, 0-1. I'll tell you, some people feel wild card games may not be the fairest thing for a team to risk it all in one game after playing 162, but I'll tell you this, they ain't dull. Last night sure wasn't, and tonight sure isn't. Down and away, a ball and a strike.
I don't think these Mets fans have sat down much all night. On their feet, yelling, cheering,
praying,
closing their eyes.
Meanwhile, Bumgarner waits. There for a strike, 1-2.
I think now you got to see if he bites on the slider. He's taking that heater there on the outside part of the plate. You've got his eyes set out there. If you can move that slider off the plate away, I think you can get him to chase.
Fastball and a swing and a miss to end the inning. Reed gets out of it. The Giants leave him loaded, and it's still scoreless. Garner, who is still in the game. 7 shutout innings tonight, allowed only 3 hits. He's at 94 pitches starting the 8th, and will face a pinch hitter, Eric Campbell. Right-handed batter will come up for the left-hand hitting James Loney. Slow curve in for a strike. Another pinch hitter is on deck as Syndergaard looks on. Ty Kelly is out of the on deck circle to bat in the pitcher spot, then back to the top of the order for Jose Reyes. Fastball fouled back, and it's 1-2. No activity in the Giants pen, but the closer for the Mets, Juris Familia, is up in the Mets bullpen. I mean, we're getting down to it right now. No score still. Now bottom 8 here at Citi Field. Bumgarner still under 100 pitches as he misses up and away. And you know that Bruce Bochy feels as long as he's pitching well, Bumgarner's his best option. If Bochy had his way, he'd be his starter, his closer, and everything in between. And he's been that so far tonight. Got him for strikeout number 6.
That's been the curveball. We've seen it a lot of times on the arm side, the left side of the plate, but in this instance, he breaks it into the hands of Campbell. Just a beautiful arch you see on the pitch from the release point coming over the plate right into the back foot of Eric Campbell.
So now with 1 down in the bottom of the 8th, Ty Kelly will bat on the pitcher's spot, an infielder. And there's another curve in for his strike. He was signed by the Mets as a minor league free agent back in the offseason. Made his major league debut, called up in May, made his major league debut in May. At 241 overall. Switch hitter, swings the bat better from this side of the plate. And at AAA Las Vegas this year hit .328 in 81 games.
That was 7 for 19. That's .368 from this side of the plate with the big league club.
Sharply hit and past a diving Crawford into left field, a base hit.
Well, with Bumgarner on the mound, no surprise that Gillespie would be hugging the line late in the game, protecting against the extra base hit. I don't think he would have had a play on this ball as it's located perfectly in the hole. Looks like a little slider or something that Kelly's able to get the barrel of the bat to and just sticks it in that 5-6 hole. No chance for Crawford. Shag that one down.
So the go-ahead run at first with a 1 out in the bottom of the 8th and back to the top of the order for Jose Reyes. Chops one weakly to the right side. Panic will underhand it onto Belt for the second out as Kelly moves up to second.
Oh, that could be a big play in this game, you know.
And I'm interested why Reyes swung. It was a first pitch curveball, and it was almost a protective 2-strike swing. He sees the ball so well, usually against lefties.
So 2 down, and here's Asdrubal Cabrera. 1 for 2 with a walk tonight. A guy who hit lefties well this year. A guy who swung the bat well down the stretch. The noise level rising here in the bottom of the 8th at Citi Field. And another curveball, and it's in for a strike, 0-1.
And no matter how this at bat unfolds, even if Bumgarner gets behind, where one run may be the difference, you've got to treat Cabrera in this situation every bit as dangerous as Cespedes. So you've got to pitch carefully to him and execute your pitches.
He did not go, and it's a ball and a strike.
Well, a great job of first pitch curveball that we've seen more and more the second and third times, and now fourth time through the order for Bumgarner. He starts him with that and then speeds him up with that fastball up. Looked like maybe he might have offered there. Didn't get the call even in the count.
Back to the mound, snared by Bumgarner. And that's the end of the threat here in the bottom of the 8th. We're at the end of 8, and it is still scoreless between the Giants and the Mets here in the wild card game.
And with a Giants team that puts the ball in play against what is a heavy sinking fastball, if he happens to walk a guy with this Met infield, not a lot of range, it could be a ball in play that gets through that could be the difference.
Brandon Crawford leads it off. Eric Campbell stays in the game at first base after batting for James Loney. So Syndergaard went 7, gave up 2 hits, struck out 10. Addison Reed got in and out of trouble in the 8th inning as the Giants left them loaded, and now Familia here in the 9th. Some frayed nerves on both sides of the field right now as Crawford takes low, ball 2, except for this guy. He's not nervous.
Yeah, the fist pump after the line drive right back. Let you know.
To left center field, it's going to get down and get all the way to the wall. And Crawford is on his way to second base with a leadoff double.
This is what Brandon Crawford does so well. Takes a pitch middle down. Just does a nice job of keeping his hands down and through this pitch as it slowly keeps sinking down 96 miles per hour and drives it into the gap. Stays through the ball. And we haven't seen a lot of balls hit hard in this game, and Brandon comes up big in the 9th for the Giants.
And now I think we got a bunting situation. I think you would expect to see Pagan put the bunt down. You don't have to be too fine. You've got okay speed out at second, but you don't have a forced situation. You've got some inexperienced guys playing the corner positions, so don't worry about being too fine with dropping this bunt down.
Squares pulls the bat back and he takes ball 1.
Another pitch not called for the Mets at the bottom of the strike zone. Rivera, I think, having a little trouble catching some of these balls, but that clearly, I think, catching the bottom of the strike zone.
Two 2-0 the count on Pagan. And there's nobody throwing in the Giants' pen. Madison Bumgarner might be the only starting pitcher in baseball where in this situation nobody would be up in the pen. And granted, the Giants have had issues in the 9th inning. Sergio Romo's become the closer recently. He's 4 for 4 since he got the job back. Bunted, foul. Bumgarner's at 106 pitches heading to the 9th inning, and Bruce Bochy shows no sign of wanting anybody other than Madison Bumgarner on the mound in the bottom of the 9th.
I think Pagan got a little greedy, maybe in a good way there. On a 2-0 count, he kind of turned it like a real good hitter's count and said, all right, I'm going to try and be fine with this and try and bunt for the base hit. That's telling you maybe he's got a lot of trust in his ability to just get it down when the time comes to completely give himself up, which I think you'll see him do here.
Out at second, Crawford, 2-1 the count on Pagan. Squares again, takes it low, ball 3. On deck, Joe Panik. Nobody out, and the Giants threatening here in the top of the 9th.
I still think they'll have the bunt on in this situation, even in this good hitters count. And again, you don't have to be too fine with it. Without a force play at third, too risky.
Foul ball. And it's a full count now on Pagan.
Maybe a little too eager to run out of the box.
They're still in on the corners with a full count on Pagan. Swing and a miss to get him 1 down.
We've seen him all night really go after Pagan with fastballs, high velocity. Here, Familia challenges him up in the strike zone. Usually Familia, you just bores that heavy sinker in, but knowing Pagan's having a hard time catching up with good fastballs, they challenge him up in the strike zone and will blow it right past him.
Pagan frustrated at his inability to execute. Now it'll be Panik, 0 for 3. Crawford out at second, 1 down. And now there is some activity as Sergio Romo, again the former closer for the Giants, who is once again now the closer. Santiago Casilla had a very difficult second half, blew a number of saves. Romo, after Bruce Bochy experimented with a number of different combinations, gave the job back to Romo. He went 4 for 4 closing in the last 2 weeks of the season. Romo starting to throw. And Rivera just did keep that one from going to the backstop.
It's a really tough chance here. That sinking fastball, very difficult to get your body in front of it. Your only chance is to really backhand and hope you can stop it. He's able to get enough glove on this and keep it in front of him. And huge that Crawford can't get to third now with less than 2 outs. But if they're able to retire Panik here, then you're almost certainly in a intentionally walk Gillespie to force the hand of the Giants.
Which is why Romo's up.
Yep.
In case Bumgarner's spot comes up this inning. Out of play, 2-1. You got to believe Bruce Bochy's first choice of pitchers is Bumgarner. But if they get to, say, a 2-on, 2-out situation, no score here. You saw Jared Parker's got a bat. It looks like they would pinch hit for Bumgarner as he tries to stay warm here in the top of the 9th. Romo biding his time a little bit right now. No huge rush. He's got time to get loose if he's needed for the bottom half of the inning. First things first. The 2-1 to Panik. Out of play again. Familia wants to chat. The inning began with Crawford slicing a double to left field. To the left of Cespedes, got all the way to the fence near the 358 mark. Crawford into second with a double. Pagan could not get a bunt down. Had 2 shots at it. Bunted it foul both times and eventually struck out on a 3-2 pitch. And now it's 2-2 on Panic. Connor Gillespie on deck. Parker looks like he would be behind him if it got that far, if it got to Bumgarner's spot. The set. And the 2-2. And Panic stays alive.
Joe Panic right now represents a lot of what the Giants offense is about. Not a ton of strikeouts. He does have 2 tonight, but he's a contact hitter. And in this 2-strike situation, he wastes a pitch just barely off the end of the bat. But you see how he just slows his bat down. He's not trying to poke this anywhere far. He's just trying to make contact and keep this at bat going.
Again, the 2-2. Up and in with a breaking ball and a full count.
I think the first slider we've seen from Familia there, not a real good feel for that pitch at all. And now if you're Panic, you can probably pretty much eliminate that, knowing that's not a pitch he's got a real feel for at this point. He's coming with that bread and butter heavy sinker. Look for something on the plate.
Three-two. Down and away. He walked him. 2 men on with a 1 out. Well, after we finish up here, catch Sports Center at night with John Anderson and Steve Levy. They'll have all the highlights and a full breakdown of this game, a look at some NBA preseason action, NFL news, and more. Sports Center at night, right after the final out here on ESPN. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Meeting on the mound. Pitching coach Dan Warthen with Familia and the entire infield. The Giants have runners at first and second, 1 out. Connor Gillespie is the batter, and Jared Park has come out of the on-deck circle in Bumgarner's spot. Bumgarner may or may not go back out to pitch. Depends what happens here with Gillespie. And again, Gillespie filling in for the injured Eduardo Nunez, who's out with a hamstring injury. They didn't feel comfortable putting him on the roster, not close enough to 100%. But Gillespie's had some big moments, had a big hit over the weekend, a great catch over the weekend, and now trying to bring home the first run of the night if he can deliver against Familia.
And if you're Gillespie, you probably saw the one slider he's thrown was that one to Panic that didn't really have much feel at all. Pretty much eliminate that till he proves he can throw it. You're looking something hard down and out over the plate.
Strike 1.
Real nice execution by Familia there. He's been down away. You know Gillespie's looking on the plate. He started that sinker perhaps off the plate in, freezing Gillespie, running it over the plate to jump out ahead.
Another backhanded stop by Rivera.
It's 2 now. Rivera's had a little bit of a hard time framing pitches, especially down in the zone, but a couple of big stops this inning to keep that go-ahead run out there at second base with 2 good backhand stops on sinkers.
1-1. And a fly ball well hit right field. Bruce is back, turns, and it's gone. Connor Gillespie with a 3-run homer in the top of the ninth to give the Giants the lead.
Well, Dan, you've talked about some of the heroes for the Giants in their title runs. Ross, Ishikawa, Scudero, now Gillespie getting an opportunity to play. We've seen nothing but quality at bats down the stretch. A base hit earlier, and he gets a pitch up in the strike zone that he can drive. And a huge blow to take the air out of this building.
And Bumgarner hits. Now that they have a 3-run lead, Bumgarner gets a chance to hit because they want him to pitch the bottom of the 9th as he sends a fly ball to deep left for the 2nd out of the inning. But suddenly the Giants are 3 outs away from advancing to the division series after the dramatic home run from Connor Gillespie. And that look says it all. Some stunned faces on the Mets side of the field. A brilliant outing by Syndergaard tonight, but is it all for naught after Familia surrenders the home run? Gillespie, somewhat of an unlikely hero, 29 years of age, back with the Giants this year after splitting last year with the Angels and White Sox. And again, only came into prominence. His role only really grew recently after the injury to Nunez. What a moment for him. And this entire ballpark is in stunned silence right now as Span takes a strike. Bumgarner will come back out. Cespedes, Granderson, and Rivera, 3-4-5 will come up for the Mets. But this great run at the end of the season, 27-13 in their last 40, defying the odds and all the injuries they had, and now suddenly they're hanging by their fingernails here with one of the game's great all-time postseason pitchers getting ready to head back out to the mound. Fly ball to left. Long run, Cespedes out of play.
You know, I think the Mets or the Giants were quite certain that Gillespie could handle himself offensively from the left side against right-handed pitching. I think the question was how he was going to be able to handle third base, and they felt like the final week of the season he was playing incredibly well defensively. That is big a reason as any that he is in the lineup. But another big time at bat by Connor Gillespie.
Pulled foul. Bumgarner will enter the bottom of the 9th at 106 pitches. And for him, that's a walk on the beach. I mean, considering some of the things we've seen him do in the postseason back in 2014, it's a cool night. He has pitched extremely well, and suddenly he and the Giants are 3 outs away from getting on a plane and heading to Chicago. Again, the 1-2. And a fly ball to left field. Cespedes there. And that's the inning. But Connor Gillespie steps into the spotlight for the Giants and sends a 3-run home run out of this ballpark to right. And the Giants are 3 outs away from advancing to the division series. Madison Bumgarner is back out of the mound. Now 22 innings without allowing a run in winner-take-all games. A shutout of the Pirates 2 years ago in the wild card game. 5 innings in relief in Game 7 of the World Series 2 years ago. And 8 shutout innings so far here tonight. Cespedes, Granderson, and Rivera for the Mets here in the bottom of the 9th. you cannot. You almost start to take for granted what Bumgarner's done in October, or in October on the road, or in October in winner-take-all games. I mean, no matter how you slice the numbers, what Madison Bumgarner continues to do is historic. Popped up. Pence runs out from under his cap and makes the catch, 1 down.
Well, and I just think about this San Francisco Giant team now that struggled so bad in the second half, looking like maybe they might not even get in, and have to play great baseball at home against their rival, the Dodgers. They sweep them to get in against Hill, Kershaw, Maeda. Syndergaard's pitching unbelievably, and now all of a sudden this disastrous second half, they're going to, if they hold on here, they're going to fly to Chicago against the best team in baseball with a lot of confidence and a pitching staff that matches up pretty well with just about anyone.
Say maybe Johnny Cueto on the mound in a game 1. The rotation also has, of course, Bumgarner, who wouldn't be ready until game 3, and they got Samardzija and Moore.
But what if one of those guys can win a game in Chicago, and you've got Madison Bumgarner sitting there in a game 3 scenario
back in San Francisco?
Well, think of how we were looking even back in July. Who are the 2 best teams in baseball at that moment? It was the Cubs and the Giants, and the Giants faltered since then, but they know, and I think a lot of people know, that they can get back to being the team they were 2.5 months ago.
I think that's they know. They've been there and done this. So this is a team that walks in with genuine confidence. All of a sudden, that was reeling a week ago.
Down the left field line, but back out of play. A lot of fans have started heading for the exits. Most of them are still here, keeping the faith, hoping that somehow, some way, their team could mount a comeback against Madison Bumgarner. Two again, and Granderson gets a piece to stay alive.
And the biggest difference so far, too, and 2 outs away from it, but Bumgarner being able to stay in this game as we predicted, going late into games. But Syndergaard on the flip side, I mean, you think about it, there's only four base runners that got on base for that first 7 innings. 6 reached base the last 2 in that bullpen, and Bumgarner hasn't even given them the chance.
Fly ball to left. Lots of room for Pagan. 2 down in the 9th. TJ Rivera will try to get something started for the Mets here in the bottom of the 9th. Bumgarner has given up just 4 hits tonight. He has walked 2, one of them intentionally, has struck out 6, on the verge of a shutout again here in the wild card game, same as he did to the Pirates 2 years ago.
You know, for all the great pitching that is in the postseason every year, and you think it's about little ball and this and that, the home run still plays such a huge role in these games. We saw it last night in Toronto. And now here tonight, ultimately, it looks like the difference for the Giants.
And that's not what they're known for. And I look at the bat, though, from Joe Panik before Gillespie's, battling and battling to make sure that first base was occupied. So they had to pitch to Gillespie.
Right center field. And the Giants win it. Behind the pitching of Madison Bumgarner and the 9th inning home run off the bat of Connor Gillespie, the Giants are moving on. They beat the Mets 3-0, and they're headed to Wrigley Field in what should be a fascinating series between the Giants and the Cubs as the Mets run comes to an end. The Mets with a great rush at the end of the season, winning 27 of their last 40. Terrific, tremendous performance tonight from Noah Syndergaard, but Juris Familia surrenders the home run to Gillespie in the 9th, and Madison Bumgarner quieted the Met bats all night long. They're happy, but a little bit of we've been here before, and it's only the first step they intend to take. As Bruce Bochy makes his way out onto the field, a team with so many guys who have been a part of some, if not all, of the World Series championships that they've won in 2014, 12, and going back to 2010. A confident group, and Jacob deGrom and the rest of the Mets who are looking on now from the first base dugout with some long faces. David Wright, who hardly had a chance to play this year because of the back and neck issues, watching another team celebrate on their own home field, one of the hardest things that a ball player has to do.
Challenge TJ Rivera up in the zone with a fastball. Gets a pretty good piece of it, but easily for Denard Span to run that down, and kind of a subdued celebration there between Madison and Buster Posey. It's a little bit been there, done that. This is our first step in what our ultimate goal is. But what a week it's been for the San Francisco Giants.
And they talked about how frustrating it was in that second half, knowing that one of the worst records, battling, and then their backs were against the wall, winning the last 4 games of the season, coming into New York with this place rocking to be able to get the win. This is the kind of environment that they relish in.
And you had a feeling going into the game it would come down to one moment, one play with 2 starting pitchers the caliber of Bumgarner and Syndergaard on the mound, and it did. The home run by Gillespie providing all the offense, but the headline